So go ahead and fill me in. I looked briefly over your consultation about Gus.
Sure.
Looks like the main thing was just like the leash reactivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I should first say, if I say like I think something, I have no idea. I guess I just, just words. So take that with a grain of salt. But he's pretty selectively leash reactive, meaning he could pass by 100 dogs and freak out at one, and not pay attention to the 99, and just one have, just absolutely like freak out. And so I don't know like where it comes from, like what the trigger is, like, because there are often dogs like that are really interested in him, trying to get to him, and he's just trotting along, like doesn't care. And so, we live in River North, in a high rise. So there's, elevators and hallways and, some tight spaces to navigate, 4 times a day, every day. So, I think it just kind of puts me on edge. And I feel like it's fear-based, because he seems to be like really on edge afterwards. But it's just really unpredictable. And it's kind of hard to gauge. And, I don't even really know any coping mechanisms. Like, I'll try to get his attention with a treat. And that works sometimes, but other times he is just fixated on whoever, and, and he is just pissed until we pass by.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Yes. And this is really new. And it's probably one of the most concerning things that I'm finding. So he's really friendly to people. He's kind of a people dog, rather than a dog's dog, but he, loves to be pet. Like, he's very cute. People will be like, oh, can I pet him? And he will, just enthusiastically wiggle on up to them, get pet, and then like when it's time to go, like he'll like sometimes growl and then lunge at them. And it's very weird because he's very happy to be pet. I took him to the vet to make sure he wasn't in pain. Like maybe he just, didn't mind that I was, petting him a certain way, but other people he did. Nope, couldn't find anything wrong with him. And that only happens when he's on leash. If he's off leash, he'll, go up to anybody and, get his pets and, happily trot away when he's ready. And so that one's a little bit concerning because, since that happened a couple times, I just, tell people like, oh, sorry, he's nervous with strangers, and I don't let him pet him while he's like wiggling his butt, like trying to, looking for pets. So, and that's, yeah. So I can't, that one I can't unpack at all.
Give me 1 second.
Sure, no problem. Say hi. Yeah. Say hi. Yeah. Boy, we're gonna learn. Yeah, should be right on the table. No, but not to worry about it. We're doing a lot of hands.
Okay. Anything else? So I have leash reactivity.
Getting pet reactivity. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. The reactive when strangers leave or when they're done petting Gus. Anything else?
Yeah. I'd love for him to. to also work on loose leash walking.
Okay.
Just a normal walk day to day, he's absolutely perfect. Like, aside from, every once in a while kind of veering off to sniff, always right beside me, always paying attention. But if we go somewhere new, he gets really excited, and just is pulling and wants to go. If like I'm walking with somebody else, like a friend or my partner or whatever, then he's really psyched and he starts pulling. Or if he knows if he's going for a ride in the car, then he's like nuts. And I just can't, like, I just don't know how to sort of,
Calm him down.
yeah, and kind of get him back to like what he, how he normally is.
Okay. Anything else I should know about Gus? Is Gus your first dog, or is
He is.
dogs?
Mhm. That's him. Yep, there he is.
And then did you get him when he was a puppy, or was he adopted, or?
Yeah, he was adopted at about 6 months. All I really know about him was that he was left tied up at a high kill shelter in Kentucky. And then a local rescue got him. And he was at a foster home for a couple weeks, I think, before I adopted him.
Okay, and what was it? I forgot where. Oh, here. How was the urban pooch? Was that when he was a puppy, or?
Yep. You know what? It was great. He's I'm sure you hear this like every single dog. He's really smart. And so like he knew, it was like in a class in the facility. And so like he knew what was expected of him, and there's no like surprises, it's like the same group of dogs, and like he's very food motivated. So, part of the foundations were to have treats. So like he's totally focused because, I've got the treats. And so it was good. He really did learn a lot. But I think our sort of issues, our troubles are when there are, unpredictable outside distractions, things like that, I don't know, because really like his behavior is.
All right, two dogs playing, got a little rough. Okay, yeah, continue. Sorry.
No. Yeah, I mean, that was really good. I think it was just, for real world stuff, it's tough because when he's here, like he'll go to his place and he'll stay there until I release him. He's worked out like in my condo, neighbors' noises. So he doesn't get upset like when he hears neighbors. It's sometimes when he hears like somebody else. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't really bark. He doesn't chew anything. He comes when I call him. He, listens to commands. It's just when there's something more interesting than me going on, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else about Gus I should know?
No, I don't think so. Wait, I took notes. Let me look. Let me just make sure. Oh, well, I think part of the trouble that I'm having with loose leash walking, all of it's my fault, but it's all my fault. He and I lived in Lakeview in a pretty quiet neighborhood. And then we moved down to River North, and a lot of new sights, a lot of new smells, lot going on. And I kind of just let him sniff around and like go wherever he's gonna go, and that was bad. So I screwed that up, I think, big time. But he also has a little bit of trouble, I think, desensitizing to a lot of like.
Hey. Real quick.
Yeah.
So you're like letting him kind of free roam with the leash.
Yeah, and just kind of figure things out. And so, I think that kind of started a bit of a bad habit. So totally my fault. I'd like to learn how to unring that bell. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I think he's pretty sensitive to noises in general. And I think kind of the transition, from Lakeview, like neighborhoody type to, sirens screaming past every, every couple of minutes and the L going by and the whole thing. I think that certainly doesn't help his nervousness.
Okay. Noise. All right, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, off leash, he is great. He is perfect. I've never, he'll come when I call him. He plays nice. Like dogs that I've seen him freak out over, like we've seen them off leash and they just have a sniff and run around and play, and he's not an aggressive player.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty baffling. I think I have no idea. But in my mind, it just kind of feels like when he sort of get away and has a little bit of personal space, nobody's like pulling him back, or that he's a lot better. He's a lot confident, just with everything.
I see. Okay. What do you walk Gus on? Like, is it a flat collar, prong collar, harness?
Yeah, we've tried. I've tried pretty much everything. He has like a plastic prong training collar.
Okay.
So it's like got the little prongs, but it's just black, like plastic, instead of like metal prongs.
Oh, like that.
Yeah, and he runs right into that one. I'll hold it open, and like getting him in a harness is like, he'll do it, but he doesn't love it. And like he also has a flat collar that, if I know we're just going our normal route and he's just gonna trot right beside me, I'll use that. But I've tried pretty much everything.
Okay. And what are you using? What are you using like now? Like what do you walk with him now?
In terms of like collar or how he's, I use the prong training collar.
Okay. And is it like, does it have like all like the prongs and then like the ring on top and looks like that?
Yep.
Okay.
And then the leash is clipped to the ring, and but 90% of the time it's loose on him. He just, I don't know, he seems to like, he'll just put his head right in and let's go. So
oh, okay. So he just puts his head through the loop and that's it, right?
yeah, I mean, I'll clip it up, but like when it's time to go, I'll hold it out and clip it around him. And that's like the happiest one. The harness, like I said, he'll do it, but he doesn't love it. And the flat collar, he's fine with too.
Okay. And then if you were to have everything you'd want with Gus, what would life look like with you and Gus?
I think just reduced stress for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if his reactivity is fear-based, if he's just not confident, it stresses me out, because like, it's 50-50 whether he's gonna freak out or not, so I'll see another dog and I'll stiffen up, or like, if one kind of sneaks up on us, for lack of a better term, like, on the sidewalk or whatever, then and I'm sure he can sense that. I'm sure he can sense my tensing up. And yeah, so just kind of reduce stress, and him just being like, I just don't want him to be afraid. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I just feel like he's afraid, and that that makes me sad. I think he's just really smart, and he's a happy dog, and I just want him to be confident and not afraid of the world we live in, his neighborhood, his home, all that good stuff.
Okay, so you're just mostly focusing on like the walks. You just want to get that down, and then like but yeah, just like you're mostly focusing on like the reactivity and just enjoying the walk.
Yeah, it's like I said, just outside sort of unpredictable situations, kind of how to manage through that. Again, at home, he's amazing. Like he's just the absolute best. It's just, so those outside stimuli that are causing us some troubles.
Okay. What else? Okay, so the reason I ask is just to kind of get an idea of what program would be best for you and Gus. Because if you're just trying to, do the walk, we absolutely can just give you those tools and knowledge to just, get that reactivity, right? Because it's like, some owners want like off-leash hiking commands, and it's like if you're not going to do that, then we wouldn't give you these useless commands, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, we do a little bit of, kind of off leash. There's like a big field behind my place that's
Nice.
Then a bunch. Yeah, it's great. And it's like dog happy hour after work. And on the weekends, so I'll take him there, and like, it's like people surrounding all the dogs. So like, I know, I don't really worry. But he always comes when I call, no matter what's going on. So, I'm not really worried about anything like that. I mean, I keep him on leash all the time, like when we're walking, when there's other people, sidewalk, traffic, all that good stuff. So yeah, I don't think I need anything majorly adventurous, but, also anything to reinforce his recall. He's never taken off running or done anything, where I had to he just comes back. But I don't know if that would be the case if something, super interesting he came upon. So,
Sure.
strengthening recall would be great too.
Okay, cool. So sounds like he's just frustrated on these walks.
Yeah.
When you say you pass dogs, nothing happens, and then like just the one dog, like towards the end of the walk, he'll just blow up, right?
Yep.
So it sounds like he's just loading up. So imagine you start your walk. He's like, let's say he's at a 0 or a 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he sees a dog, he looks at like he's stalking the dog or something. Or like there's some sort of like interaction, a negative interaction.
Yep.
And like then he goes like a 2, and the next dog a 3, and then the next dog a 4, but he's not doing anything. And then like maybe like a squirrel or like the calmest dog will walk by towards the end. He's like, oh, I'm gonna blow up, because he's already at an 8 or a 9, because we've let all these other things slide, and he's loading up. So he'll unload on like the littlest thing, right? So that's what it sounds like to me. And then when people are petting him and he gets all wiggly and excited, and then they leave and he's like, where are you going? It sounds like he's just frustrated there too, because he wants them to come back, or he's trying to get to them and he can't. And so when we leave dogs, like in the facility here at our daycare, we don't coddle dogs. That's not our job. Our job is to care for the dogs, make sure they're safe and they're well structured and everything. Our job is not to, lay down with them and cuddle them and pet them, right? That's not what we're here for. So when you pet a dog, right, and they're getting all excited, and then you leave, they're like, I'm still excited, what's going on? And they get stuck there. Okay. And then also raise the level of loading, because now you've increased the energy of him. So when he sees a dog, he's more likely to unload on that dog, right? So if we leave him in that state of wiggle, wiggle, excited, and they're leaving, he still wants it, and then he'll look at the barking or like the lunging, when does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But I think, it just, it's almost scary to me. I mean, I've never seen him, do anything mean to anybody, but like, lunging after him or like a low growl, like that was like just your best friend like 5 seconds ago, and it's all brand new. He's 3 years old. This has all happened in the past like couple of months. And so, it's just, it's really scary. And I don't know where it's coming from.
So let's say you're walking with Gus,
and
then a person wants to go pet Gus, right? Or however how would happen. Like when the person's approaching Gus, what is Gus like like very forward and very like, oh, someone's coming and he gets wiggly, or what does he do?
Yeah. So, it depends. Like, if we're just kind of a lazy walk, or like, he's having a sniff around some bushes, or like waiting at a stoplight, waiting for, walk signal. And so we'd be like, oh, he's so cute. Can I pet him?
Mhm.
Like, sure. And, and he's just like, just dancing up to him like as quickly as he can get. And, like he'll kind of put his side into them and like, get side pets or like under his chin, or his butt, the basic strange dog petting areas, back, butt, chin. And like sometimes it's not even like when they walk away, like at the end he'll just be getting pet and I can just hear this like, like, all right, buddy, and like, all right, I think it's time for us to go, and I'll pull him away. And like that happened a couple times and I took him to the vet. Like I said, because I was worried that something, health wise was going on with him. Or that he was hurt, and ran a bunch of tests, did a bunch of stuff and couldn't find anything wrong. He doesn't, at least with me, he doesn't have any sensitive spots. Like he doesn't care if I, like tickle under his ears or his feet or, like anywhere. So it's not like, ooh, don't touch that part. He hates it. He's fine. Again, at least with me, with everything. So it's kind of a scary mystery to me.
Yeah, sometimes, but that's the most he's done is growl, and then you just pull him away, and then that's it's more like barky about it.
Yeah, he's not a super barky dog anyway. So yeah, just kind of a low like rumble, and then I'll pull him and he'll like lunge back, at the person. No like teeth bared, no like he doesn't snap, he just lunges. But like I keep a close eye on him no matter what. So like, but I don't know if I, like if I had him too loose on the leash or if I wasn't like quick enough to react. I don't know. Yeah. If he would snap at somebody or, or what.
Yeah. All right. The pulling back will definitely make it worse. So like, that's why I ask, what do you walk him on? Because if like, the regular owner, when they get a puppy, they usually go for the harness, right? Because they hear all these good things about like, it doesn't collapse trachea. There's like the no pull harness, which is an oxymoron because harnesses are meant for pulling, because harnesses are used for huskies for protection training. For protection training, they put a harness on the dog, and we have like the person across from the dog, like the aggressor, like the person that's gonna like get bit, whatever, the bite suit, right? And then the handler has a dog, and like they pull and release, pull and release. So dogs have it's called opposition reflex.
Okay.
It's like at the bars, if like these guys are getting into it and like they start like holding him back, like it makes them want to go even more because like, oh, it just makes them want to go more. So it's the same thing there, where like if you pull back, they want to go forward. If you pull left, they go right. If you pull right, they want to go left.
Okay.
So we pull and release, because then this is like negative pressure right here, and it's very frustrating, and they get annoyed, and it creates aggression. So that we need the aggression so that we can get the dog to even like be more intense about going for the guy, right? Or whatever the person is going to get bit, right? So then we keep pulling back, and then release when they pull forward again. So there could be a few things if you're pulling it if he's tense already, or maybe like he's like, I'm done being pet, please stop petting me, right? And then you pull him away, he's like, whoa, is like it's like tension, because he's tense, you're adding more tension, then he gets the lunge or something, like it just goes, right? Then with the same thing with like reactivity on the leash, if you know, he sees a dog and then you pull him back, he's going to want to go more forward, like that stuff, like there. But you walk him on a prong. Sometimes um, it depends on the prong. If it's like, you know, because prong collar, did you get trained with a prong collar, or did you just buy one and then tried it out?
Yeah, no, so he had like a little, before I adopted him, had a little bit of training with like the prong, and I can show it to you. Like I said, it's just like that plastic one. And so his like foster mom gave it to me, and so just added a couple of the prongs on as he got older, and so we've always had it. And
Okay.
like I said, I've like tried pretty much every sort of, you know, leash, just as collar, different harnesses, the whole thing.
For tools and things like that. So like I said, like the harness does that. The next step would be prong. Prong is a good tool to use because it allows you to correct your dog, right? There's some, now you can introduce negative pressure to disagree with a behavior they're doing, right? Pros, like I said, it's more stricter. It's definitely a step towards it's a good step towards like whatever you're trying to address. It's gonna have some sort of maybe positive effect, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the dog can be so loaded up or so disengaged and so you know, strong-minded that, you know, the problem might not be enough to override the brain of the reactivity or whatever he's in.
Okay.
So like, you know, you'll hear like, oh, with like, you know, it's usually like the husband and the wife. Like my husband, he's stronger, so he's able to kind of calm him down more, but the wife can't, right?
Okay.
Well, they'll get some situations where like the husband will give his strongest, like it's called a leash pop, like a correction, right? And like his strongest one could be a 7, right? But then he's at a 10, the dog's at a 10. You're never going to override the brain or bring him down from a 10, especially if he's seeing these other dogs and slowly getting loaded up, right? When he's at the 8 or wherever he blows up, that's where it's really hard to bring a dog back to 0, right? So we
Yeah.
like to squash the loading as soon as we can. As soon as we see a little bit of tension in us, boom, we're correcting that immediately because we don't want it to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want it to stay at 0 or 1, you know, a low number, so that we are able to have him controlled and not be in a situation where he's just so far gone that the prong or nothing will kind of calm him down, like, unless like there's like they split, or like, you know, the person leaves, then he's going to be more relaxed. But then
Yeah.
after they leave, he's still tense, right? So it's going to be even harder to bring him down
Yeah.
throughout the walk, and then he's just keep blowing up for every little thing.
Yeah.
And then so the con with prong, that's the con, that sometimes it doesn't override or get in the dog's head, because prong collar is supposed to mimic a dog by like that. Those are what the spikes are for, you know. So like when you pull on the leash, it's supposed to like close on it, and then when you do a pop, it's supposed to be a quick pop, like a dog bite, right? It's supposed to be, because dogs are very physical animals. You know, if was playing and then like a dog mounted Gus, he didn't like it, he'd probably just like a quick bite, right? Maybe growls, maybe showing teeth, and then because it's just like, you do something, you get this, right? Dogs don't. That's just not going to be, hey, please don't mount me and just hop off, please. They don't talk it out like humans do, right? They just go straight into consequence. Like, you're doing this, you're going to get this, and then the dogs know. They're like, okay, I cannot do that to this dog. I'm going to give my space and go bother someone else, right?
Yeah.
Any questions so far?
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, do you think part of his, I guess I'm trying to understand like his reactivity versus non, like being on a leash or versus being off leash. Do you think it's just kind of like a space thing, or?
So dogs have a few responses, or a few responses in stressful situations, right? They have flight, fight, avoid, or just submission.
Okay.
When dogs are on a leash, they know they're stuck and they know they can't run away. they're not going to submit because they're bothered by something. And then so the only thing that's left is like fight, or like they can't avoid because we haven't taught them that yet. So it's the only response is like I'm stuck here. There's a dog. I'm already tense because on the leash it could be tension too, and loading
Yeah.
up that he wants to do it. But when you take the leash off, he's like, oh, I can avoid the situation if I need to. But he doesn't feel like that on the leash, right?
Sure. Okay.
Um, so it's just stress, just loaded tension, and that he's because that's where we go to e-collar it gives us enough power to override the brain, and it's non-confrontational. So in other words, he just not going to know you're pressing a button. Did you do research on like the tools we use and like e-collars?
I did.
Before, what do you know about e-collar?
Um, basically just what I've read about them recently. And I know that there are some real crappy ones, that are basically just a small shock or a large shock. But from what I understand, the better ones are kind of at the low, like if that's all you need is kind of just like a tap on the shoulder, essentially, like for humans, like instead of if they're overstimulated and can't like aren't listening, but they can feel like the tap or whatever the stimulus that they need is.
Yeah. Correct. So e-collar is physical. It's the reason why we get so much success with it is because it's their language. They're physical animals. They deal with their problems with physicality. So this is physical and it's here, right? Gus is looking at a dog and reacting to it because he's seeing it, right? Like
Yeah.
sees Milan, he goes like, what do you say? He says that dogs reacting or using too much of sight, right, is not good. It's nose, eyes, or is it nose, ears, eyes? I think something like that, right? But if the dog's using their eyes, that's not good. It's the nose first, then ears, then the eyes, right?
Okay.
So think of Gus like he's seeing like a ghost, basically. There's nothing happening. There's nothing real. But this is real. It's touching him. So he's gonna be more concerned about this than the dog over there that's not doing anything, right?
Sure.
So when we teach him e-collar, it's physical, so he's gonna get it fast. Dogs get it really fast. It's a muscle contractor. So Jesse likes to call it electric, but not electricity. So like there's other collars out there that would shoot electricity through the dog's body, right? The we use have 2 contact points and they're like on the neck. And it's the same technology physical therapists use for their clients. It's like the TENS unit. They put it like on the like the muscles or anything, and they'll let the machine do the work, and like you'll see like the shoulder twitching, like it moves the muscle, right? It's that same technology, so it's the same one we use on humans, right? Our brand has 127 levels. So think of, and there's other brands out there that go up to 10, right? So think of 10, the power outage equal to 127, right? We have 117 more breaks to be more specific to Gus and the situation. So if 30, he wasn't listening, 40 is too much, we can go with 35. But the other college was like, since you have so much, like, you only have 10 numbers or 10 levels, 5 can get him to yelp, 4 is he's not listening. So then like, what do you do there? Because you're at 4 or 5, it's like, well, we can't do 4.5 because there's no such thing as 4.5, right?
Yeah.
So how this would work is we would teach him the heal command. Heal is, our version of heal is like the walking command, is very strict. It's heal is walk with me, stay with me, and sit when I stop. So if we take 5 steps with Gus, Gus takes 5 steps. If we take 10, Gus takes 10. If we come to a stop, Gus is to automatically sit, and this is all done with no words said. He's just to do it. And this is all done with a slack leash in any environment, whatever, like it doesn't matter what's going on. We can be at Oz Park, which is like the busiest park in the city where there's baseball games, off-leash dogs, scooters, kids, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it's expected to have that much focus on our walks. So although that's obedience and we're trying, and your main focus is mostly like behavior,
Hmm.
the so like the psychology behind the way we teach heal is um, getting Gus to be so focused on you. And
Hmm.
so like, I need to wash mom's leg. I need to have my right shoulder glued to her leg, because if I don't, then I'm going to get consequence for that, right?
Yep.
That he won't even care about the dog because he's more focused on you, right?
Yep.
So it's like the idea behind the way we teach the heal command. Uh,
Yeah.
so there's like a spectrum of like reactivity, like what goes away first. So typically what goes away first is like the calm dogs or like just people. So
Hmm.
no, first humans go away, then it's calm dogs, and then scooters, bikes, depending if he's reactive with those things. Sometimes, dogs aren't, but those will go away. And then it goes reactive dogs who are also reactive back towards Gus, or not back, but just if they start it, that's a little more difficult because then
Hmm.
there's energy coming towards him, and then we need to adjust that. And then the last thing is like the unpredictable, like you turn a corner and there's a dog.
Yeah.
We can't do anything about that because it's just a surprise. We can give you the tools and everything to kind of handle that situation well. But that's definitely heal would be a very important command for Gus, just to get him to help him disengage from the dogs and everything, and then a little bit of sensing a little bit of overstimulation if he's constantly wanting to smell and everything.
Yep.
That will help too, um, with the heal command, and get you to that loose leash walking. So any questions so far?
Yeah. So I think just to kind of backtrack a little bit, like with the e-collar, or the prong collar, whatever we're using, um, is that something like that they would always use, or is it once it's already like really trained and ingrained and they can transition off of it?
Yeah. So e-collar. So if you're going to go for a walk, the e-collar
Hmm.
will be on, right? Are you
Hmm.
going to be pressing that button all the time? No. But let's say we're going for a walk, and since you have a prong collar, sometimes prong collars break. So let's say a car crash happens to you, or not you, but like happens when like a busy street, right?
Yep.
You're walking on a busy street, and then boom, car crash. He freaks out, he lunges, and then catches you off guard, and maybe like the leash comes out your hand or the prong breaks, right?
Hmm.
You have the e-collar on him to override flight mode and bring it back. Although he's good with recall, it could be because it's a controlled context and he's like relaxed, right?
Yes.
But when dogs are in flight mode, they're literally thinking kill or be killed. So he's
Okay.
running for his life, and no treats, no words will make him come back. You're gonna have to override the brain to stop him in his tracks and do a 180 and come back to you, right?
Yep.
So that's where ECOG will come in handy, because we can't predict what's going to happen on these walks. A firework or maybe an off-leash dog approaches you, and like,
Hmm.
what do you do there? With you have the ECOG to ensure like a safety, an emergency case, right?
Yep.
Like I
Okay.
said, you're not going to be pressing that button all the time on your walks. Now, in the beginning of training, you're going to be pressing that button. You're going to want to press that button, so you don't need to press in the future. So
Yeah.
like my dog and Jesse's dogs and the trainer's dogs here, they're already well trained.
Hmm.
So Jesse says, he'll press his button like once a month, maybe like two sometimes, It's very rare, but it's there just in case, right?
Hmm.
Now let's say, you said Gus is an angel in the house, right? Then you don't need the e-collar then, right? But then let's say you have guests come over, and then he gets a little jumpy and you kind of want to address that. Well, then 20 minutes prior, you'd collar him up, guest comes in, address whatever needs to be addressed. And then if you find that he is back to being an angel after those corrections, then you can just take it off and he's just chill,
Yeah.
So it's on when you need it. If you don't need it in the home, then you don't need to have him wear it. It's also like personal preference in the home. Like sometimes it's mostly like for the older couples who have like the little dogs that like grab stuff and run around because they're so old they can't really do that in case the dog, right? So they're very happy with just pressing a button and the dog spits it out and they just grab whatever they need to grab, right?
Yeah.
Um, does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Um, anything else?
No, I don't think so. Oh, well, okay. So basically, like teaching him to heel,
Yes.
um, you think that'll kind of like when his focus sort of that'll help kind of lower his stress. And I mean, he likes to have a job, like he likes to, perform. But do you think like that will just kind of that focus, everything else kind of melts away and he's like working? So yeah, that would be great.
So we'll see what we can get with, because heel takes 2 classes. We'll
Mhm.
see what we can get with those 2 classes
Okay.
because it's going to depend on the program you choose. Because if we need wiggle room for reactivity, right?
Hmm.
So we need um it depends. So like it's good to have wiggle room with more classes because let's say we do the 2 classes and like he's still bad with like reactive dogs and it's very hard to bring him down, right? Well,
Sure.
we have like more wiggle room to address that instead
Uh-huh.
of going for like the minimum and then like, well, you need to buy more classes and then it's like a whole weird thing, right?
Yep.
So we'll see what we can get with the 2 classes. We have a video. I'm not sure if it's still up, but we used to have a video because I was trying to find it earlier of like you see this German Shepherd Husky mix, mostly German Shepherd. And
Hmm.
first class, I start recording and because when she's walking the dog to us and he is all over the place, he's barking like he looks like he was really bad. Then the second class, he's like a different dog. It was crazy. It was just like, I mean, he was still stressed, but he was nowhere near where he was in that first class before we started training.
Yeah.
So that'd be a good video for you to watch just to see how it will work and everything. Because there's a lot of um, how do I say a lot dealing with reactivity is very nuanced with like handling skills, what to do if a dog's walking by you, what to do in that situation. We teach you how to address these situations before we put you in like, this is what you do, this is what you do. Good luck, bye. We have to
Yeah.
teach you a few things and to know how to handle like when he's just to avoid any conflict with other dogs and everything like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, we'll see. We can see what we get with the heal command. What were you? So we have in-person programs, board and train programs, and daycare and train programs. Did you already have something in mind, or?
No, I am. You tell me.
Okay,
I have no idea like what's best. I am
okay.
on board for whatever's best. Just best for him, best for me, best for us as a as a dog human couple.
Sure. So yeah, I'll fill you in. So in person is one-on-one, right? You're more than welcome to bring, whoever else will be handling Gus doing these lessons, and then we can work with them as well.
Okay.
So we have the 6-week program,
Hmm.
9-week program, and then the 12-week. We also have a 3-week program, but like I said, since we're dealing with more behavior, we might need more wiggle room than 3 classes. So
Yeah.
um, I'm thinking the 6 for you.
Okay.
If you were to do in person, so it'd be 2 classes heal, 2 classes recall, and then we have 2 classes here to see how the reactivity is doing. And if it's doing good, then we can teach you stationary commands and like more stuff for you to practice at home and at restaurants or whatever you'd like to do.
Yeah.
So like that's like the minimum. Like that's like what you would. That's like if you just want the walk recall, that's what you get, right? Right. That's a good program for you. The
Yep.
9-week, think of the 9-week as all of that, but let's say you want to learn how to take Gus to like a patio or more stationary control in like those contexts. Like if you want to go to a
Hmm.
restaurant and you want him to lay down there for an hour and a half while you're done eating until you're done eating, right?
Yep.
While other dogs are around you, right? And then the 12-week is all of those things, and then you do you do the off-leash hiking, right?
Okay.
So these programs are an hour for, if you do this, let's say you do this 6 week, it'd be Sunday at 1 p.m. Um, every Sunday for six Sundays, right?
Okay.
At 1 p.m. Same for the 9 and 12. And that's all verbal coaching. So we trainers don't touch the dog. We're just telling you what to do, and then you're doing it all from scratch. You're learning how to troubleshoot. You're learning how to, what to do when a dog comes by. Because if we would like we're operating at Oz Park, so we have
Hmm.
all sessions at Oz Park or the facility. But like if we're at Oz Park, like you're in it. Like there's a lot of dogs there, so you're getting used to addressing situations, addressing his reactivity, and all these other things.
Yeah.
The cons is that it's going to take you a little longer because it's a class a week, right? And
Hmm.
we only give you one topic a week to kind of practice because we don't want to overload you with
Hmm.
information, right? So that's in person. Any questions about the in-person program?
No, I think, yeah, I was going to ask if it's, if it's at a facility or out in public. And like I said, like he's, when there's not a lot of other stimuli, he's just like, you know, just on point. But, when there's other things going on, I think that would be really helpful to him to be able to learn, and me to learn to manage that.
Yeah, because if Gus can handle Oz Park with these sessions, then like your neighborhood would be not a big deal. It'd be
Yeah.
So then we have daycare and train and board and train. So board and train and daycare train are very similar. So board and train, you would leave your dog or Gus here for probably more like towards like the 2 week program.
Okay.
Staying here overnight for 2 weeks. We videotape all like the first sessions
Mhm.
of his lessons. So you're seeing how he took to the e-collar. And I'll be doing the video. So I'll be explaining like why he reacted this way, why he did this, and how we fixed it. And it's heel, stay, sit down, place, recall.
Okay.
He's going to learn all the 6 commands. And then since we're dealing with reactivity, we'll probably take trips and do a lot of training walks with him outside. We'll do here and there, we'll do a trip to, what's the park? Horner Park. It's
Okay.
up Western, I think. So we'll go there, just expose him and see what we can get the reactivity. And then he gets to, if he's social, like you said, then he gets to enjoy daycare. He gets to play with dogs. If he's not playing, then he's training. And if he's not training on the floor, he's doing duration work here. So in our facility, we have a playpen, and then the training floor. And like between all that are these beds and then columns. And then we have a leash on them attached to them. And it's a lot of leash for them to hop off the bed. And we're teaching them to just coexist and just lay on this bed, chill out, relax while clients are coming in. Dogs are playing around. We're moving dogs, like tremors are going on. Dogs are playing. All this stuff's going on. They just have to learn to just relax, right? And then you also get follow-ups, a lot of follow-up time. If you do the 2 week, let's say you do the 2 week, you can schedule the follow-up after 1 week. You can schedule the follow-up after the 2 weeks. You get the videos when we're done recording them, and then you watch, and then you study them and learn how e-collar would work. And then on the follow-up, we transfer everything to you. So
Okay.
another pro for e-collar, kind of backtracking here, is that it's very transferable. So like you mentioned a partner. If partner number 1 goes first, right, with the training, if we were doing in person, this is an example in person.
Uh-huh.
If you both you guys, let's say you go first, you're going to do all the hard work, right? Because you're going first. Then you hand it off to partner number 2, and it's like nothing,
Yeah.
right? You did everything. Because when you press the button on 30 and they press the button on 30, it's the same thing. There's no like, well, he listens to him, not me. There's none of that, because it's the same feeling, right? It's the same thing. Because he's going to be like, oh, this feeling goes with mom too. So on that follow-up, when we're transferring everything to you, either here or at Oz Park, the follow-ups take place at Oz Park too.
Okay.
Um, the moment he feels that, he's like, oh, it's with mom too. I gotta listen to mom now. You know, it's that feeling, right? That he's gonna understand that it's okay. We're doing this with her now.
Yeah.
And then daycare and train is very similar, except now you pick him up after the day. So it's just like the day you bring him and then you pick him up, right? We're still
Mhm.
videotaping. He's still doing the duration work and playing, training walks too. And then you get follow up as well for that program. Pros and cons. Pros, we get it done faster. We teach all the commands in one day. And
Mhm.
then after that, it's just reinforcing every single command. Cons, training is tied to us at first, but then that's
Mhm.
what follow-ups are there for. Um, other what else? Any questions so far?
Um, no, I mean, I guess ultimately I would just, want to know, what from what I've told you about Gus and everything, ultimately, like, what would you, recommend as like your number one recommendation? And then, next below that, if I don't want to do number one, what's number two?
Um, I'd recommend. It just depends on your schedule. If you have it's about availability too. If you have the time to do in person,
Hmm.
I'd recommend in person so that you know how to handle these situations before,
Sure.
like, let's say we get the reactivity and he's like good, and then like
Hmm.
you're here at your where we get the follow-up lesson at Oz Park. Turn this off. We get the follow-up lesson at Oz Park, right? And
Uh-huh.
then let's say you're like, whoa, like he's not reacting, right? And then like if we don't see anything during that class, then it's like you think he's good. But then like let's say one lesson, a dog barks at him and he freaks out, and they're like, oh, like what should be done here? We'll do videos and everything to help you, right? But like
Hmm.
we're the ones doing the video. We haven't seen, if we don't see anything with you, then we can't really teach you how to work through that, right? So that's like an issue, if you're not working through it because you're dealing with reactivity.
Hmm.
If there was like no behavior issues and you're just wanting obedience, then like board and train, daycare and train, it doesn't matter what you do. But it's also personal preference. Like there's nothing wrong with doing the board and train or the daycare and train. It's just that yeah, I that's in my opinion what would work. And then also I have to check to see if we have availability for board and trains because we're getting a lot of board and trains right now.
Okay.
Because I think everyone's getting comfortable going on vacation and everything. So there's
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Everybody's leaving.
but yeah, I mean it's just mostly up to you and
Okay.
um, how you want to go about that. Um, and any questions?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, without really thinking about it, I think I'm kind of leaning towards the 9 week in person.
Okay.
Um, Again, just because I'm sure that a lot of um Gus's, reactivity or behavior is because of me and like my reaction to things. And so, I'm pretty sure I need as many coping skills as he does because
Yeah.
I just get so nervous, like I want him, to be a good neighbor and a good, a good citizen.
Yes.
And I think that, I'm sure my reaction doesn't help anything, but then of course I'm like, oh, it's all the dog's fault. So
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so yeah, the 9 week program would be really good for you. There's a lot of wiggle room there for you to just kind of, we'll see, how much progress the heel gets us, and then we
mhm.
have all these other classes to like really focus on the reactivity and get it, get to the bottom of it, right? And if all goes good, you're going to learn a lot, and a lot of commands that will help you if like I said, if you want to go to a restaurant, you can have a lot of trust in them to just lay down and just be calm. um, what else? Um, Sorry, this dog hopped off his placemat. Okay. Um, what else? Any questions about the e-collar or anything?
No, I mean, can you send me information of like, like what I need to get in
Oh yeah,
advance of? Okay.
So after this consultation, I'll send you a follow-up.
Okay.
It'll contain the program you want, the 9-week, the price, what a what's it called? What's it called? The word where I forget the word. It's when you like, you put like, half down and then the other half like
Oh, sure. Sure. I don't know the word either, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think it's called a payment plan. Sorry.
Okay.
So like we'll show you how like that would work, a payment plan, like it's like half down, minus the consultation, so the minus 135. So this goes towards your training.
Okay.
The collar I recommend for Gus, actually, how much does Gus weigh?
Gus weighs about 57 pounds.
And then how old is he again?
He's 3.
And then his breed is, I think you said, was it Border Collie mix or?
Yeah, Aussie. He's Aussie. I did, if you believe the DNA test, which,
Okay.
but he's Australian Shepherd, Border Collie, Husky, and Collie. And then.
Okay, so since we're dealing with reactivity, I know the collar that would be appropriate to him, just to make sure of the size. But
Okay.
I'll send you the collar we recommend, Amazon, a link to the Amazon website, or you can, purchase from us because we sell them as well. They're the same price, but if you want yours on your own, just kind of fiddle with it, and then like we come to class, you already have some knowledge about it, and then we can just get started right there. You can do that as well. So I'll send you the 9-week prices, what a payment plan would look like if you were to go with that, or you can pay in full, however you want to go about it.
Okay.
And then a form that needs to be signed. This is kind of like an agreement liability thing. So once that is signed, we'll begin billing, and then we'll begin booking.
Okay.
What else?
And did you say once a week classes?
Yes. So you get, so if you're going to go for the 9-week, you get, again, an example, Sunday, 1 p.m., you get 9 Sundays plus 1, right? Just in case, because life happens, like if something were to happen, you have that reservation, that time that's reserved for you if we miss class, right? Once you use that extra time slot, then you would have to wait till I become available again, or if you want to go with Jesse, because the consultation is just with me. You have to still have the choice to go with Jesse or me, or however you want to go about it. But let's say once you use that up, then you have to wait till there's more time available for you. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, sure does.
Any questions? Any other questions?
I don't think so. I think I
Okay.
I think I got them all out.
Okay. Real quick, one more thing owners kind of wonder about is how come when I take the e-collar off on these walks, my dog goes back to jumping, lunging, or they break the heel, or like they don't listen anymore, right? It's just called opportunistic behavior. Humans do it. So like an example we use, the human version would be, no one goes to speed limit on the highway. Like no one does, right? Once people see a squad car, you'll notice everyone, like all the brake lights come on, like everyone starts to slow down, right? So opportunistic behavior, if we can get away with something, we're going to get away with it, right? If like a cop is there, we're like, okay, we check ourselves, right? But once the cop's gone, all right, I'm going to go back to 70, 80 or whatever we're going. Same thing with dogs. Jesse likes to call the e-collar a cop on a collar. So it has nothing to do with the training, has nothing to do with the e-collar, has nothing to do with like the way you practice or anything like that. It's just nature. Like I said, if we know we can get away with something, we're just going to get away with it. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
What else? Anything else? Any other questions?
No, I think that's it.
Cool. So keep an eye out for that follow-up email. It should be sent either tomorrow or the following day.
Okay.
And then once, you sign the agreements, then like we'll begin booking, and then we can begin, billing them and booking. Trying to think if I missed anything. Do you know the brand of prong collar you have, real quick?
I don't. I can show it to you. You want to see it?
Sure, real quick. Yeah.
Okay.
I like the Star Wars poster, by the way.
Oh, thanks. It's like a movie print made in Ghana. And it's like painted on like flour sacks.
Oh, what?
And like sewn together flour sacks. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's not a good prong collar.
Okay. Will you send me what I need to get then also,
Correct.
please?
Brand is called Herm Springer, and I'll send you.
Springer. Okay.
And we sell them too. I forgot. Yeah, we sell prong collars here too.
Okay. Okay.
Trying to think. Is there a size? I'm sorry, if you put it away, it's fine.
Oh, no. I just have it hanging by the door. Let's see. Let me see here. There is no size on it, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, the brand is Triple Crown.
Okay.
And it doesn't say a size or anything on it.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
All right. So I'll send you a link, and then you can either purchase from there, or we can bring one on class, and then, or if you want us to drop it off or anything like that, we'll figure that out on the emails.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Cool. All right. Well, it was nice speaking to you, Kristen.
Yeah.
If any questions pop up or anything like that, feel free to send me an email and I'll answer them. But cool. Anything else?
All right. No, that's it. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Have a great night.
All right. Thanks. You too.